call this meeting of the Committee on Youth to order. Thank you for attending. On our agenda, we have 4 sets of bills. The National Music Competitions for Young Artists, or NAMCYA Act. And we have with us one of the authors. We'd like to greet the Honorable Senator Bong Revilla. Morning, sir. And thank you he's the author of the bills for two sets. That's the NAMCYA as well as the National Youth Day. The author in the House is also with us. We'd like to welcome and acknowledge Congressman Rufus Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Very prolific and acknowledged legal luminary. Good morning, Congressman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Most welcome. And then we have the National Youth Day. That's the second set of bills, also authored by Senator Bong and myself. And then in the House, it's Representatives Elago, Agabas, Castro, among others. And the third is the Summer Youth Camp Act, or House Bill 9852. This is authored by Representatives Pacquiao, Lopez, and Nieto et al. And then the fourth is the Young Farmers and Fisherfolk Challenge Act, authored by Senator Amy Marcos. She's a big supporter. At kahit wala pa yung batas, she's already supporting this through budgetary support to the DA. And there is House Bill. The House Bill is authored by Representative Macapagal-Arroyo, Representatives Macapagal-Arroyo, Villafuerte, Cabochan, and others. So without further ado, I'd like to set the ball rolling by asking our committee secretary to acknowledge our guests. Again, thank you for joining us this morning. Comsec, go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Senate online. As of the moment, sir, these are the resource persons on board now. From the House of Representatives, we have Congressman Rufus D. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Deputy Speaker, yes. From the Commission on Higher Education, we have Dr. Glenn Gregorio, Chairperson of Tech Panel for Agriculture, and Mr. Sonny Pasiona, Representative of CIRCA. From the Department of Agrarian Reform, we have Attorney Annabel Owandasan, Board Member, and Ms. Sheila Imperial.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Senator Bong Revilla.
Morning.
From the Department of Agriculture, we have Undersecretary Fermin Adriano, Assistant Secretary Liza Batad, Ms. Rosana Mula, Director, Dr. Ramon Yedra, Director.
Magandang
From the
tanghali
Department
po.
Magandang tanghali po.
Good noon po.
From the Department of Budget and Management, we have Ms. Mary Enrico Hermoso, Chief Budget and Management Specialist, and Ms. Janelle Kagimbal, Budget and Management Specialist. From the Department of Education, we have Mr. Samuel Sullivan, Director, Mr. Adolf Aguilar, Chief, and Mr. Clarence Canton. From the Department of Information and Communications Technology, we have Attorney James Lee Avendano and Mr. Antonio Edward Padre, Director, Ms. Nicole Magtibay, Planning Officer. From the Department of Trade and Industry, we have Mr. Emerson Labang, Supervisor of Trade and Industry Development, Ms. Nelly Diliera, Executive Director, and Ms. Grace Dalisay of SB Corps. From the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, we have Mr. Bernard Joseph Corpus, Deputy Executive Director.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
From the National Youth Commission, we have Commissioner Ms. Alexa Daniel Dayang-Hiram. From the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, we have Ms. Charlene Hustimbaste, Acting Assistant Executive Director, and Ms. Maria Linda Andrade, Chief TESDA Specialist. From the League of Cities of the Philippines, we have Mr. Mel De Guia. From the League of Provinces of the Philippines, we have Ms. Angelica Sanchez. From the Coordinating Council of the Private Educational Association of the Philippines, we have Attorney Christine Carmina Manaog, Legal Counsel, And from NAMCYA, we also have Ms. Virginia Bactad, Chairperson, and Mr. Renato Lucas, President, and Mr. Ronan Ferrer, Program and Artistic Director. Sir, we also have now on board Congresswoman Sara Elago. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman Sara Elago. Thank you for joining us. Rep. Elago is an author of some of the measures on our agenda. Morning, ho.
Yes, have a
Is that
good day,
it,
everyone.
Comsec? Lahat na yan?
Yes, sir. Opo.
Yeah, thank you, Comsec. Again, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for joining us. I don't have any opening remarks because I'd like to go straight to the meat of the bills and hear your positions. But first, before that, I'd like to hear from our colleagues. I'll give the floor first to our colleagues in the Senate, author of 2 of the bills and the chairman of our Committee on Civil Service, no less than Senator Bong Revilla. Sir, you have the floor.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Senator Sani, and
Afternoon.
to all our guests and resource persons. Thank you, Senator Angara, for including our bills today, today's public hearing. Isa na po rito ay ang National Youth Day na inaasahan natin na magiging isang espesyal na okasyon upang higit na matuunan ng pansin ang mga isyong kinaharap ng sektor ng kabataan at magkaroon ng taunang pagdaraos ng mga gawaing maglilinang sa kanilang kakayahan at mapagpapayaman sa kamalayan at karanasan. Ito ay bilang pagkilala sa mahalagang papel ng mga kabataan sa ating kasalukuyan at kinaharap ng ating lipunan. At ang isa pa nitong panukala ay pagtatalaga sa National Music Competitions for Young Artists o NAMCYA bilang National Youth Development Program for Music. Sa loob ng halos kalahating siglo, nariyan ang NAMCYA upang gabayan at hubugin ang talento ng ating mga batang musikero upang maging ganap na world-class artist. Gayon din, salamat sa kanilang pagsisikap, nananatiling buhay ang tradisyon ng musika na tunay na sariling atin. We look forward to receiving your inputs and ideas about our legislative proposals. Muli, salamat po. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Bong. I couldn't agree more about the importance of culture and the art and music to our culture. Siguro sabihin ko lang na aside from education, our youth have suffered because they've not been able to do the things they love, sports, arts, and culture. So we're trying to, hopefully, once we get past the pandemic, we will see a revival. Just like the world saw a revival of arts and culture and flourishing in the 1920s after the Spanish flu. No? I'll turn it over now to Congressman Rufus, my friend. Sir, you're free to give opening remarks or talk about your bill, sir.
Thank you very much, our dear Chairman of the Committee on Youth of the Senate, Chairman Sani Angara, and of course, Chairman Bong Revilla of Civil Service for your support. No? For Senator Sani for including us this bill in the hearing this noon, and for Senator Bong for being a principal author in the Senate of the same NAMCYA bill. Mr. Chairman and Chairman Bong, this is a matter close to my heart. The NAMCYA is present in Cagayan de Oro through the years. And I remember in my first term in Congress, Mr. Chairman, I was so proud that some of our youth from the Cagayan de Oro City Central School went all the way from the competition in Cagayan de Oro Regional all the way to the Cultural Center of the Philippines to be able to compete, and he won. And subsequently to that, there were others because the NAMCYA always gets these young people in the arts, especially in singing, which where my youth were participating. And so, and then also the other Rondalia and the other. There are so many youth musical competition sponsored by the NAMCYA. And so therefore, when I came back to Congress in 2019, I was very happy that Madam Chinga Lagdameo and Dr. Renato Lucas came to see me to sponsor, and I was very privileged to sponsor this particular bill. So, Mr. Chairman, our bill intends to designate, it's a designation of an already successful organization recognized all over the country and by the world. And that is why this act will designate the National Music Competition for Young Artists as the National Youth Development Program for Music. And then it defines its functions, gives them support, and then gives them budgetary allocation. And it will be for budgetary purposes with the NCCA. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I will not take so long because all of us have studied this bill. And so I would just therefore like to request the support of Chairman Sonny Angara and of course Senator Bong Revilla. And good afternoon to our valued resource persons who are present this noon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And you have my support, Congressman, for this bill, definitely. Now we'll turn it over to Congresswoman Sara Elago, who is an author of the National Youth Day Bill. Incidentally, sumulat din sa akin si Chairperson Ino D, Congressman Ino D, to push for this measure. So I'd like to acknowledge that letter. Go ahead, Congresswoman Sara, you have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, Senator Angara, Senator Revilla, Deputy Speaker Arnulfo Rodriguez. Magandang araw po sa lahat. This bill seeks to declare August 12 of every year as the National Youth Day, aligned with not only the date, but the intent and aspiration of the International Youth Day to raise awareness on youth issues and highlight their role as partners in nation building and international solidarity. While we've seen how the pandemic and the multi-layered crisis have the Filipino youth diversely affected and denied of so many opportunities, we are also seeing the young people taking concrete actions to struggle against inequalities and climate injustice and to help build back better, fairer, and greener as we emerge from this crisis. We've witnessed how youth-led initiatives and campaigns in many fronts of the pandemic and calamity response, rehabilitation, and recovery initiatives demonstrate how young people have remained positive assets in our society. The Filipino youth have also proven time and time again that it is a reliable emergency resource. At the education front, the student sector working with and alongside you and multiple stakeholders is likewise at the fore of presenting their demands for safe and phased school reopening, the prioritization of teachers, faculty, and staff in the COVID-19 vaccination, among others. So imagine what more we can achieve if all the rights and fundamental freedoms for youth are fully promoted, protected, and realized. Just imagine what more we can accomplish if the barriers to the meaningful and adequate participation of youth are addressed and if measures to truly support and empower us to contribute as active members of society are urgently passed, properly implemented, and funded. And one step is through the passage of this bill before you today. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating mga authors sa Senado sa bahagi ng Kabataan Party List. This comes at a very opportune time to send a strong message that the Filipino youth holds an eternal spring of inspiration and hope despite the challenges of our times. Let the National Youth Day be a celebration of the role of the youth in inclusive nation building and development. Let the National Youth Day be a celebration of the achievements of the youth and a reminder of what more we can achieve. Muli, maraming salamat po sa ating makasama dito sa Senado na magtitiyak na ang kapakanan at interes ng kabataan at ang selebrasyon na ito sa pamamagitan ng Araw ng Kabataang Pilipino ay ating masusuportahan. Maraming salamat at mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Sara Elago of Kabataan Party List. Now we'll go to our resource persons and we'll take up the 4 sets of bills as they appear in the agenda, starting with the NAMCYA Act. Can we hear from Dr. Lucas, the president of NAMCYA? Sir, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Honorable Senator Angara. Good afternoon, Senator Revilla. Yeah. Aware of your support for youth development programs through education, appealing to your good office to support our already laid programs on music through legislation, our mandate of discovering and developing our young Filipino talents in the music. NAMCYA has been in existence for the past 49 years and is mainly funded through yearly grants from the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Our existence is so temporal as we depend on an Executive Order 1173 and its subsequent amendments. A passage of a NAMCYA Act or NAMCYA law would assure our institutions stability, considering that NAMCYA, although a private foundation, could be considered the music counterpart of the national sporting event like Palarong Pambansa. NAMCYA is also a resident company of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, supporting our programs in discovering Filipino music talents and sustaining its expressions, including that of traditional music. We have been lobbying this bill in my capacity as NAMCYA president for more than a decade now, together with National Artist for Music, Dr. Ramon Santos. Hopefully, we found an ally in this perseverance. Mr. Chair, Attorney Tan informed me of your request to brief the Senate on a history. If you would allow, I have a very brief PowerPoint presentation.
Yes,
I
go
can
ahead. Go
share.
ahead. Sige.
Yeah.
Go ahead, President Lucas.
Yeah, cover. Yeah, it was formally organized through an executive order in 1973 and amended to the imperative need to preserve, develop Philippine music as an art. Yeah, so last week of November of each year was designated as a National Music Week, highlighted by the competitions as the main highlight. Yeah, so there was an amendment subsequently, in which NCCA as a primary supporting agency. Well, there was an antecedent in 1955. There was a public corporation. I'll skip this, which means the state has been supporting. I think this Republic Act eventually, with my limited legal knowledge, was superseded but with the creation of the Presidential Commission for Culture and the Arts, which became the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Yeah, so this is our vision to be the main agent in advancing and fostering our diverse musical heritage. Our mission is to identify and nurture outstanding young Filipino musicians through nationwide competitions, publications, festivals, and workshops in readiness for professional music career. So this is a sample of our poster last year. This year is our 49th. Next year, as Senator mentioned, is our we're existing half a century. So these are our programs, competitions. We also have teacher training and training of young musicians all over the country, and enhancing appreciation of the performance of Philippine music as well. Some a demonstration of our call for participation. These are all our competitions which are held alternately for in a 2-year cycle. We have, of course, the Philippine the tradition of the rondalla, both in the children and the youth, which is very prevalent in many schools, both private and public. The solo instruments, the children choir, the youth choir, and the senior choir. NAMCYA has been like a springboard for international competitions as well. Yeah, our choirs are well known in Europe and in the Americas with the versatility, impressive musicality. And then of course we hindi natin pinapabayaan ang ating traditional music, both the indigenous and the folk expressions. Here are some pictures of our competitions. If you see in the lower left and the lower right, these are part of our traditional music festival, where it is not really much of a competition, but we call for display of their tradition put on stage with annotations. Yeah, this is a way of preserving and sustaining these traditions. We have solo competitions in practically all the genres: the guitar, the piano, the strings, the voice, the winds, the brasses. Some samplings. This is a young man in the solo rondalia holding a banduria. These are young people. Incidentally, I think two of these young musicians just left for further studies abroad. Challenging to support, to find support for them, which is usually in their private capacities. We have special competitions. The proliferation of the symphonic band all over the Philippines. Chamber music, composition, and we are updating our foundation with the times with the music video. With the second round, we have 3 rounds of competition. First round, they submit video. The second round, we go all over the country because it's quite expensive for these big groups to come to the National Capital Region. So these are some of the places that we've visited throughout the years. Northern Luzon, Southern Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. We produce documentaries like this one of Coke Bolipata. He's a concert violinist.
Sa operations, kung as of this date, ilang hectares na ang nabigay natin sa mga graduates ng agriculture? Kasi
So can we remind our resource persons to mute their microphones, except for the resource persons, please?
So
go ahead, President Lucas.
So another documentary we produced late last year, a pandemic, how musicians cope. These are 5 members of the Manila Symphony Orchestra. Well, all these documentaries are accessible in our Facebook page for the public, and our competitions since the pandemic are accessible online. We have a series of seminar workshops like music theater. Considering the diversity of the music practices. Teaching Philippine music. We have a roster of a network of experts both in the academe and practicing musicians. Competitions, how to join, participate in competitions, particularly international. Training rondalia, adapting in the digital age. Practical musicianship in percussion. And some public performances that we attempted even before the Omicron. We collaborated with Concert at the Park, and we had many broadcasts online. Here are some of the performances. If you see that's Paco Park, that's Luneta. And of course, as important are the publications. We commission works for competition, and we publish them as well, and distribute them at affordable prices. This is our view. Last year, we have a wide audience reach, particularly during the pandemic. Well, we have public funding. I mean, cannot complain with state funding, but considering the scope of what the foundation is doing, it's quite it is quite broad. Yeah, so there are some private individuals who are very kind with their philanthropic institutions. We are in touch with educational institutions. Our winners are recognized nationally, internationally, but we are challenged in providing scholarships in helping our young musicians in their quest for further training. And so these are some of our questions. This is our party in the National Music Week. The picture speaks for itself on the scope of the party. This is our closing at the Cultural Center of the Philippines during the pre-pandemic. Now this one is a long list of our alumni. Oops, wait. Yeah, the one in red, they are based here in abroad. Professor, a lot of them are teaching here. A lot of them are based in Europe, in abroad, either in their capacities are teachers or performers, etc., etc. End of presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas, President Lucas. Is that the end of your position?
Yes, that's the end of my.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Please give us a copy of that so we can include some of the.
I emailed this to your office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll share this. How do
President Lucas, yeah. Salamat. And congratulations for all you've achieved. Can we hear from the CCP? We have Eva Salvador, the Associate Artistic Director online. Ma'am, please give us your position or opinion on the bill.
Magandang hapon po at salamat sa
Hapon po.
pagkakataon nito. Okay. Naririnig ba nila ako?
It's a little soft, but yes, we hear you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, of course, the CCP lauds this bill for its support to the development of young artists in music and for the provision of funds thereof. We've worked with NAMCYA, and through the years, their work has been exemplary, consistently inculcating artistic excellence in the field of music, especially among the young. Every year, it gets better and better and better. So this helps the Philippines further position itself in the international art scene as a country of excellent music artists. It is timely that this law is passed to recognize their work and to provide a sustainable mechanism for its continued work. In the bill itself, the strategy to include music education is very important, and perhaps in the IRR, this could be clarified further vis-a-vis the other groups that are doing music education. You see, sirs, because of the competition, you are also able to assess the standards. So as you are able to do that, it would help very much if music education can also be adjusted so that across the fields, this is something that can be shared with people involved in music education or even in the basic education system. In the clarification between the position of NAMCYA and NCCA and CCP in two sections, no, in terms of entitlements, perhaps it would be better if the entire financial support and mechanism be centralized with NCCA to fast track many of the processes. Another position that we're taking is in addition to CCP providing venues, subject of course to availability, the NCCA is also managing the Met. And we could also expand this further to the public theaters or public venues because many times NAMCYA also does its performances or its activities in the regions. It would be good to also go through that, no? And in the end, CCP can also help in monitoring the artistic excellence and artistic development because it is part of our mandate, no? So malaking bagay po ito, and of course we truly support this endeavor po. Yun lang po.
Salamat, Ma'am Eva. Can we now hear from NCCA Executive Director Bernard Corpus is with us? Morning. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. And on behalf of our chairman, Arsenio Lisaso, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude, no, for this invitation. It's just unfortunate that he will not be able to join us today as he is attending an equally important meeting deliberation. However, we would like to extend our gratitude to Senators Revilla and to your good self, as well as po kay Congressman Rufus Rodriguez for these measures, together with all the other concerned legislators from the House of Representatives and the Senate of the Philippines. Also, we would like to greet our colleagues from the NAMCYA and from the CCP. As expressed po in our earlier letters, may we reiterate our ardent support for the passage of these bills. You see the roles and the functions of NAMCYA as enumerated in the proposed Senate and House bill.
Nagigiri kami yan sa Senate.
Did we lose Executive Director Corpus? We lost him, no? Anyway, we'll get back to him. Maybe we can hear from the NYC. Is ASEC Dayanghirang here? ASEC Dayanghirang, are you here?
Mr. Chair, good afternoon.
Hi,
Yes,
good
Mr.
afternoon,
Chair,
ASEC.
everybody.
Yes. Go ahead. While we're waiting for NCCA, we'll go to
Hello,
you muna.
Secretary. Hello.
Yes, we also see Senator Binay. We'd like to acknowledge her presence, also a supporter of the youth and the culture sector. So I think I recognized ASEC Dayanghirang. Pasensya na, I think you're having a problem with your internet, Director Corpus, no? We lost you for a while there. We'll give you time to maybe recover that, and we'll ask ASEC Dayanghirang for her position. Then we'll also ask Senator Nancy if she wishes to say anything later after ASEC Dayanghirang. ASEC, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, good afternoon, dear senators, and of course, our members of House Representatives and our other guests. So first of all, we prepared, the National Youth Commission has prepared a position paper, but I think it will take more than 4 minutes if I will read it all. But furthermore, the National Youth Commission strongly supports the passage of Senate Bill 2429, designating the National Music Competition for Young Artists as the National Youth Development Program for Music, defining its role and functions as such and appropriating funds therefore, as a bill that will mandate the systematic formulation and implementation of a National Youth Development Program for Music. The National Youth Commission believes that the legislation will empower the NAMCYA its continuous efforts to enhance the positive development of the Filipino youth through their participation, musical endeavors, and activities. The Commission also commends NAMCYA for its long years of sustained commitment to the promotion of youth formation and participation in musical programs that contribute not just to their education but also to their overall health and well-being. So task under the proposed legislation is to promote the activities of NAMCYA to the Filipino youth. The NYC would like to recommend that in the implementing rules and regulation of the anticipated law, a committee or a board cooperators be established, which shall include, among others, a permanent representative from the National Youth Commission in order to streamline and facilitate communications between the Commission and NAMCYA towards the realizations of the National Youth Commission's role in assisting NAMCYA, and a provision either in the law or in its IRR to be included mandating NAMCYA is to establish a database of Filipino youth participating in various activities and share the same database to the National Youth Commission or the other relevant government agencies for the purpose of drawing insights and trends as well as behavioral knowledge that could be relevant for youth-oriented policymaking and advocacy. And the annual program as well as targets of NAMCYA be shared to the National Youth Commission for purposes of collaboration and shared monitoring activities as well as intended to youth participants. So with that, Mr. Chair, and to other members of this meeting, the National Youth Commission is in full support to the passage of the said bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, ASEC Dayang Hirang. That's a very good idea to include the NYC in the board of Is it NAMCYA or NAMCYA? I may be butchering the name. NAMCYA. Wait, what is President Lucas? What is the you would know being an alumnus?
Well, both are correct.
Okay. Pasensya na kung may if I'm mispronouncing anything here. Can we hear from Senator Nancy if she wishes to? Did she wish to make any statements? I know she's a big supporter of the National Museum, Culture and the Arts. Senator Nancy. Well, maybe we'll get back to her later.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Senator. Welcome.
No more, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I'm just here to support. Actually, multitasking. I'm attending another meeting.
Well, yeah, I think that with the rush in time, so we're pressed for time. So I understand.
I'm just here to support all the pending bills, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That means a lot, Senator Nancy. Thank you for Senator Binay lending her voice to these important bills. Can we get back to our Executive Director of NCCX, Executive Director Corpus? Are you online, sir?
Yeah. Yes, again, good afternoon.
Yes. Pasensya na. We lost you.
But am I being heard po?
Yeah, maybe just keep your monitor off so you can preserve your bandwidth. No, you can just
okay.
speak.
Yeah. Thank you. NCCA.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Executive Director, you're choppy, no? Your connection is very choppy. We'll just consider your position paper na lang with due respect, Executive Director, no? It's pointless to proceed because we cannot comprehend what you're saying. But thank you for being present today, and definitely we will give a lot of weight to the position of the NCCA. Thank you. And regards to President Nick. Can we hear from the DepEd? We have from the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Sir Samuel Sullivan. Are you here, sir? Mr. Sullivan? Mr. Sullivan? If not, we can hear from the League of Cities, Mel De Guia.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, is this Mr. De Guia?
Hi, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, could you identify yourself, whoever is speaking, please? Because I cannot see who's speaking.
Sorry po.
Who is it? Who is speaking?
So, good afternoon. This is Mel po, Junior Polity Officer, yes po, of the League of Cities. So, good afternoon, everyone, especially to our honorable senators and members of the House of Representatives. On behalf of the League of Cities, we are very thankful for inviting us to this meeting. Unfortunately po, our principals have an equally important event, but rest assured that we will elevate to them today's Senate deliberation. And we will also provide the committee with our position paper on the bills, especially that we saw that it has parang the funds for this for the NAMCYA will be getting for it from the local school board fund. So rest assured po that we will provide a copy of our position paper once elevated to our principals. Thank you very much po.
Thank you, Ms. De Guia. Can we hear from the League of Provinces? Ms. Angelica Sanchez, are you here?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Apologies po, I couldn't open my camera because I have a very low
No
bandwidth.
problem. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the League of Provinces of the Philippines is supportive of the passage of this bill for the NAMCYA bill. Especially, we see the importance of we see the value of what do you call this, promoting our music as an art, as an art form, more over entertainment, especially for now. We and then we also welcome that the funding for the NAMCYA can be sourced from the Special Education Fund, because we see that it is also a vital component of our youth development. So I think it is but right that we will allow the funds for NAMCYA to be charged to the SEF. That's all for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Mr. Sullivan of the DepEd is online now. I see his any position from the DepEd, Sir Sullivan.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, good afternoon po.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, please. Sir, please go ahead. We're waiting to hear from you, sir. Sir Sullivan.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, um, narinig po ba ako, Mr.
Masama yung signal ho. Masama ho yung signal. Hindi we're just hearing sounds, but not we cannot make out what you're trying to say, sir. Yeah, better to turn off.
Good afternoon po, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead. Straight to the position, sir. We're all waiting.
Mr. Chair, this is Mr. Adolf Aguilar, the Chief of the Youth Formation of DepEd. So I will just
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Our position. So DepEd, Mr. Chair, appreciate the opportunity and acknowledges the role of the Department of Education in the above cited bills, which states that DepEd, together with CHED, shall assist in the identification, selection, and training of the participants from different regions of the country. So in the department also, Mr. Chair, we have the DepEd Special Program in Arts, or SPA. It is being implemented in more than 200 schools nationwide since the year 2000. This program trains talented junior high school learners in art disciplines such as music, theater, dance, visual arts, media arts, and creative writing. We also have an annual competition called the National Festival of Talents. So DepEd, for short, interposes no objection to this Senate bill. However, we recommend the following for consideration. A national youth development program for all art forms should be formed, and not just for music. A competitions for all art forms will help in ensuring the sustainability of our country's arts and cultural heritage, and training of teachers for all art forms, not just in music, will also help in the preservation of our country's arts and cultural traditions. Aside from that, Mr. Chair, we would like also to be clarified on the matter regarding funding in the conduct of these competitions, because it's not part of the regular appropriation of the department. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aguilar. Thank you. That's a good point. We'll clarify that. We'll convene a TWG to work over the weekend, and these points on the composition of the board, the funding, and the appropriations provisions, these should all be taken up and be very clear given the limited time remaining. So thank you very much. And DICT is the last resource person we have for this bill. But of course, anyone in the body is free to give their piece before we move on to the next item on the agenda. Is Ms. Nicole Magtibay here with us? Ms. Nicole Magtibay from the DICT. Ms. Nicole Magtibay, DICT.
Hello, sir. Sorry po, I think our director will be the speaker for this po.
Who is that? Director?
Director
Yeah. No problem.
po. Yes po.
Sorry, could you say the name again? Director. Yep. Yeah, go ahead, Director. Please, the ICT. You have the floor, Your Honors. Comsec, ano nangyari sa DICT?
Sir, on board po si Director Padre.
Padre. Yeah, Director Padre, can we call, can we
Opo,
request
Director
Director Padre
Padre.
to give the position of the department? Director Padre, can you hear us? Well, in the meantime, while we're waiting for Director Padre, is there any other resource person? Because that's the last person or last resource person listed for the NAMCYA bill. We're going to move to National Youth Day afterwards. So, any other comments from the body?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and to everyone. I am Attorney Christine on behalf of Cocopea po.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm here on behalf of Cocopea and Dr. Tamayo as our chairman and Attorney Estrada, our managing director, sends the regards to everyone here po. So, on the bills at hand po, Cocopea welcomes these efforts and these bills which seeks to recognize the Filipino youth as an important part of nation building and of course recognizing music as part of our rich culture po. Perhaps these bills come at the most opportune time where creativity and finding motivation and inspiration has been a bit challenging for everyone, no, including and especially our youth. So on the part of the private education sector, Mr. Chair, and to everyone of the body, perhaps I would like to just express that we hope that the private education and of course private education sector and students and its stakeholders be of course be included in to participate of course in these competitions and including of course for any scholarships and subsidies that will be part of this bills po. Perhaps that is all for us in Cocopea. Of course, we fully support these endeavors and bills.
Thank you, Attorney Christine from Cocopea.
Thank you, Mr.
Again,
Chair.
we'd like to ask if Director Padre is here from the ICT. Director Padre? No one? Okay.
Mr.
So
Chair,
I guess we
Mr.
can wrap
Chair.
up the. Yes.
Yes,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair, this is James Evangelista
Yeah,
from
hi
the
James.
DBM.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
sir. Good
Kumusta?
afternoon po, sir. Kamusta po, sir? Kong Rufus, Kong Leia, good afternoon po in behalf of all the DBM officials here po and technicals. We would like to express po that we will be submitting our position paper after this meeting po on the bills. The same also has been submitted po to the Senate Committee on Appropriations last October 2021. Sir, we recognize the intention of the bill considering that this will promote culture and hone the artistic talents of the youth. However, sir, we have reservations on the express provision, particularly on the Senate bill, of the annual financial assistance to NAMCYA and on the proposal of attaching it to the NCCA for budgetary purposes. Specifically po kasi favoring a non-stock corporation or singling out the same among other similar cultural entities will not work favorably in promoting private participation for the purpose. It likewise undermines the policy-making function of the NCCA and the internal rules and regulations in providing grants chargeable against the NEFCA or yun pong National Endowment Fund for Culture and the Arts. So, also po, as a non-stock corporation po, NAMCYA is regulated by the BIR. And given this na i-attach po natin siya sa NCCA, it may limit the oversight capability of the SEC and the BIR. And this may also lead to confusion as to the appropriate rules to be applied to NAMCYA po. Particularly po, regarding po doon sa earmarking po ng 20 million sa Senate bill, we are also always referring po to articles, section 25 of the article 6 of the 1987 Constitution, that the all special appropriations bill shall specify the purpose for which it is intended and shall be supported by funds actually available as certified by the National Treasurer or to be raised by a corresponding revenue purpose therein. So, finally po sir, considering po na nagkaroon po tayo ng COVID-19 pandemic, mababa po yung collection ng travel taxes. So we are expecting po that in the next 3 or 4 years, there will be po mas mababa po yung NEFCA funding po natin. So we submit po, in view of the foregoing, we are constrained po from supporting this proposed legislative measures po. Thank you po sir and good
Let me
afternoon
ask
po.
you, James. Thank you for your position. If we are able to amend that, tweak that budgetary provision, you can support it. If we tweak the budgetary provision, because the NCCA really gives grants to all kinds of private persons and institutions, artists, even CCP. They recognize may in-house dance troupe yan, or so there is no, that's a settled legal question whether we can give funds, public funds, to private institutions. As long as the purpose is public, it's permissible. So could you help us tweak that provision so to make it acceptable to DBM?
I'll relay this po to the ones handling po the NCCA budget and the CCP budget po sir, the directors handling it.
Yeah, because there's a desire on the part of Congress to help this program and to appropriate resources for it. But of course, we don't want to violate any budgetary rules. So after this, we'll direct the COMSEC and my staff, my legal staff, to work with the legal staff of DBM to craft something acceptable to the DBM, because we want this money to be available. It's much needed, as all the resource persons have said. No, sige, thank
Yes
you.
po sir. Noted po. Thank you very much din po sir.
Salamat. Kong Rufus, yes? You're on mute, sir.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have discussed that in the House. You know, the purpose here is public. This is not for any private person, except that this is a program of the government to be able to, that's why executive order nung una, to be able to breed our, growth of our youth in music. And that is why there have been laws that has given to private sector. The Bayanihan Dance Troupe is a recognized dance company that was also funded by the national government.
Yes.
So in other, Mr. Chairman, this is nothing new. This is, we pierce the veil. Example, since you're the champion of education, so Mr. Chairman, in America, very early in the 20th in the 1900s, the United States gave to private universities. And that was questioned all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, no, this is not a grant to a private university. This is a grant for the public in that particular state. So ano yan eh? I mean, these are things that we are still having that mental block na we cannot support. Now, this institution is a creation of executive order, and it has been trying to always, and it has been successful in developing our youth for music. And so DBM kindly consider, because this is not directed, this will not go to the package of the officers of the NAMCYA. This will go towards developing our youth. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We hope that we approve this, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you
We
very
will
much.
find a way, Kong Rufus, around the legal entanglements, Congressman Rufus, and we'll seek your help as a very bright lawyer. But we want to allay the fears also of DBM that maybe we should make it explicit in the law that it is without prejudice to the supervisory power of SEC and all of these regulatory bodies, so as to make it clear, to leave no stone unturned, and to leave no ambiguity, so to speak. No. So if there are no more comments on these bills, we will direct the secretariat.
May I be recognized for just a quick
Go ahead,
one
Dr. Lucas.
sentence? I forgot to mention the underutilized possibility to on the creative industries, because our talents have it's underutilized. So we will also we will supplement all the laws pertaining to to the creative industries. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And even
Thank you.
and even with the present situation, with the grant from NCCA, we are really supervised strictly, or the COA, the SEC.
Yes, that's
Well,
right. I'm
so
sure. I'm sure.
and I
Any
wanted to
public fund,
emphasize that
it cannot detract from the power of COA. So that's a given, President. Don't worry about that.
and then we have been in existence for 50 years, and we cannot start from scratch again to do
Yeah.
for a program
Yeah.
like this. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. We recognize all of what the President Lucas said. There's an established record, no bad record here. So again, we'll direct the ComSec and my staff and to work with the staffs of the authors and the stakeholders who are present here today to craft some of these and clear up some of these over the weekend, because I think we need to sponsor this Monday or Tuesday, because after we only have actually 9 session days left in the 18th Congress to get this thing passed, no? So that's a very tight schedule, and we welcome all the support, and medyo medyo suntok sa buwan sa totoo lang, but it's worth a try, and we'll definitely do all we can to work for these bills. Thank you. Thank you for those if you're we welcome those who wish to stay for the National Youth Day, the Summer Youth Camp Act, and the Young Farmers Challenge Act. But you're also free to go because I know you have other work to do. But thank you again to the authors, Kong Rufus, for being here today. And the President Lucas and all of the government agencies. Salamat sa inyo. We'll now
Once
move
again,
on
Thank you very
to...
much.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, let me just
Yeah.
express our
Go ahead,
thanks.
go ahead. Yeah.
The youth of today, especially those in the arts and music, we are very thankful to you for including this in the hearing today, and we hope that this will be approved by the Senate plenary and it goes to the President. It has been going on for 50 years. There has been no question why NCAA is given a budget to be given to this association. So therefore, for a late question of budget from the government, that has been done so many times by the NCAA. So by the NCCA. So we thank you, Chairman Sani, and we wish you safety from this pandemic and success always in your endeavors. Thank you very much. And
Thank you very much
and
for your
Senators
kind words,
present. Thank you.
Congressman Rufus.
Thank you.
And rest assured of our support, given it's despite the limited time. But I know you have a lot of senator friends, like your kababayan, Senator Coco, Senator Mix is also. So please give them a call. So we'll have smooth sailing in the plenary kung sakali, no?
Yes, but I believe that just with Chair Angara, ma-approve na ito. No need for
I'm
me to
only
appoint
one vote, Your
others,
Honor. I'm only one of 24. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you
sir.
very much,
Mabuhay ka,
Chairman, for
mabuhay ka,
your
sir.
support. Thank you.
Thank you, Kong
Bye-bye.
Rufus.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for who supported that bill. It's a very worthwhile bill. Dito naman po tayo sa National Youth Day. Rep Elago, would you wish to say anything before we acknowledge before we go to the resource persons? You already said quite a lot, so but you're free to add at any time. Opo. I think nakamute ho kayo.
We just have high hopes that the Senate Committee on Youth will approve this measure. Thank you.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Congresswoman. Can we hear from NYC ASEC Dayang Hirang again on the National Youth Day? It's a very simple bill, so I don't expect any controversy here, really. Maybe we could help support this measure.
Yes. Yes, Mr.
ASEC,
Chair.
you have the floor,
Once
ma'am.
again, good afternoon. Yes, once again, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and to Congresswoman Elago. So, the position of the NYC on this is that the NYC lauds the Senate of the Philippines for its initiative to prioritize the meaningful observance of the National Youth Day, which recognizes the Filipino youth as partners in nation building. Also, the agency notes that implementing the event on August 12, which coincides with the international celebration, will be more efficient way of celebrating the Youth Day. Indeed, the National Youth Commission supports this measure to guarantee a day-to-day celebration to appreciate and hone the contributions of the characteristics of Filipino youth. So that would be all, Mr. Chair, and the National Youth Commission is in full support of the implementation of the National Youth Day for the Philippines. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and
Thank you very much,
Congresswoman
Asek.
Hilaro.
Salamat po ng marami. Can we hear from TESDA? We have Ma'am Charlene Justimbaste. Are you here, Ma'am Charlene?
Mr. Chair, may I be recognized? This is
Yes,
Liz
please go ahead. You're
Andrade.
recognized. Yes.
Apa, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon
Miss
po sa
Andrade,
lahat.
yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon po sa lahat ng mga nandito ngayon. Our honorable committee members, good afternoon. On Senate bills, bill numbers 1587 and 2012, and of course, House Bill number 6456 on the declaration of the National Youth Day on August 12. TESDA concurs with the intent of the bills po, and in support, the authority favorably considers working together with other government agencies in the preparation and implementation po ng mga annual programs and activities included here are on the career path, sustainable development goals, in environment preservation, gender equality, and the mental health. We will submit, Mr. Chair, our official position on this after the meeting. That would be all, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much po.
Thank you, Ms. Andrade. Cocopea, Attorney Christine or Attorney Carmina Manao, whoever wishes to speak for Cocopea. Yeah.
Yes, yes po. Good afternoon again to everyone. So, Cocopea, of course, supports the bills. On that note, perhaps we would like to just ask, or we can improve on a certain provision just to recognize po the academic freedoms and discretions of schools in relation to the programs or celebrations or activities po that will be conducted in celebrating this day. We hope that the activities in relation to this day would be discretionary for private schools, because of course the funding will be coming from the private schools.
Yes, certainly. Certainly, we can place that.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Salamat, Attorney. So, can we hear from Dr. Glenn Gregorio of CHED? Dr. Gregorio, are you here?
Hello, good afternoon. Actually, I'm Glenn Gregorio with Circa, Southeast Asian
Yeah,
region.
sorry. It's just CHED in my list.
I'm also Senator. I'm also the CHED Technical Panel Chair for Agriculture. So this is really a good opportunity for us to engage the youth with having this make it visible for having this. So we support this bill and we will emphasize the importance of youth in agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gregorio. Thank you for being brief in your remarks. DepEd, Mr. Aguilar, sir.
Yes, good afternoon once again.
Any comments, sir, again on this
Mr.
bill,
Chair,
National Youth Day?
The Department of Education supports the declaration of August 12 as the National Youth Day to highlight the significant contribution of young people in nation building, provided that appropriate funding shall also be instituted to ensure a successful celebration. Thank you po.
Salamat, Mr. Aguilar from DepEd. So that's the list. Anybody else from the body who wishes to speak on these bills? If not, the committee will already approve them or approve the drafting of a consolidated version, assuming there are differences, and subject to the suggestions of made earlier regarding academic freedom. Any other comments? I don't see anyone wishing to make a comment, so.
Mr. Angara?
Yes.
I'd just like to say that we welcome the comment of the cocopea with regard to putting there, upholding, of course, the academic freedom of our schools as also one of the principal authors of all other measures to safeguard academic freedom in all educational institutions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Congresswoman. I'm sure that will be welcome to Cocopea. So again, with no other objections or comments from the body, the committee would like to approve this in principle, subject to the drafting of a consolidated version. Also, if we could have the committee report filed and routed for signature and then filed as soon as possible time. Thank you. Thank you very much to Rep. Pelago for her support, the other authors, Chairman D from the House, as well as some of the resource persons here. We can now leave the second item on the agenda and go to the third item. This is the Summer Youth Camp Bill, House Bill 9852, an act institutionalizing the conduct of summer youth camp in every barangay and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Representatives Pacquiao, Lopez, and Nieto et al. So again, we'll call on the same people, Asek Dayanghirang of NYC, after that NCCA and DTI. Asek?
Yes, good afternoon once again, Mr. Chair. So we have a long position paper regarding this, but again, this is the recommendation. I'll go straight to the recommendation of the National Youth Commission. So the National Youth Commission commends the House of Representatives and particularly Honorable Rogelio Di Pacquiao for recognizing the role of young people in nation building. So the NYC lauds House Bill 1815 and expressly supports the passage of this legislative measure that highlights the value of increasing community participation and active citizenship among Filipino youth. So the National Youth Commission would like to submit its recommendation to take into consideration the inclusion in the Summer Youth Camp Program modules on the following: disaster awareness, preparedness, and mitigation education, increasing young participation on environmental protection, conservation, and sustainability, promotion of human rights, peace building and security, crime prevention and drug awareness, training on peer education, and increasing awareness and knowledge on adolescent sexual and reproductive health and mental health. And in addition to lectures on leadership and sports development and other subjects mentioned above, the Commission proposes inclusion that activity design a series of 18 building and sports activities to develop skills, camaraderie, and strategy of the youth in surrounding obstacles and challenges. Workshops on identifying the youth issues, challenges, and service delivery gaps in their locality, and an action planning activity focusing on the needed projects to be implemented in their respective communities. So with this, Mr. Chair, the National Youth Commission is in full support and would like to help and assist in bringing it to our grassroots level youth in the Philippines. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Asek. NCCA, Director Corpus, or maybe he had a bad connection a while ago. Can the committee just ask the NCCA for their position? DTI, we have our Ma'am Nelly Diliera or Sir Emerson Labang online to give the position of DTI.
Yes po, thank you so much. So my name is Emerson po. Good afternoon to everyone. So this is the position of the DTI. So in section 4, D and E, it can still be improved. So we suggest the proposed bill should compel the exercise of diligence and competence in monitoring and evaluation, particularly on measuring the impact of its conduct by the LGU and the outcomes of the program to youth participants. So there must be a way to measure how every barangay were able to conduct the youth camp and how youth participants were able to demonstrate meaningful outcomes on the key results areas such as a sense of social responsibility, patriotism, where they can include a buy local and go local program, the youth leadership, engagement in livelihood and entrepreneurial activities, and active participation in sports. So in section 5, it can also be improved because currently they barely reflect the rapidly changing landscape of the real world. So it is highly recommended to embed topics that would motivate youth participants to look forward to the future with ambition, high spirit, and hope. So we recommend including these topics: financial education, the basics of budgeting, savings, and investments, developing a winning mindset, building your success roadmap, and industries of the future and environmental issues. So it can cover overview of artificial intelligence, robotics, blockchain, e-commerce, and their practical impact on agriculture, education, social life, and of course, key topics that addresses climate change, global warming, and plastic pollution. That's it po. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very comprehensive list. Thank you for those suggestions. Pero baka 5 units na sa college lahat yon pag pinagsama. Thank you to the DTI, but very relevant and then really would be nice if our youth were up to date with all of these topics. No, thank you. SB Corp, Robert Bastillo, is he here? Sir Robert Bastillo. SB Corp, or is that already subsumed under DTI as an agency? Anyway, if Mr. Bastillo is not here, can we hear from DICT? Attorney Avendaño, James Avendaño.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Sorry, I heard someone. Yeah, DICT, is that you? Yeah, go ahead, Attorney James.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for inviting the ICT, sir. As regards this measures concerning the summer youth camp, the DICT supports naman po the intention of the bill, although we do have issues as to the provisions that are ambiguous or vague. We're going to prepare the official position paper of the department and submit it to the secretariat. It has to do, sir, with the assistance that is that the SK shall be asking from the DICT. It's not clear as to what kind of assistance is expected from us, but we will be submitting our position on the matter, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir James. We'll try to clarify that going forward. So, any other comments from the body? I've called everyone on the list for their resource persons of the summer youth camp. Any other comments? If not, we'll again throw it to the TWG for a swift action. Come up with a committee report.
Mr. Chair, an addition lang po sana from the National Youth Commission.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, would like to add also that the National Youth Commission further recommends that local government units be mandated to appropriate additional funding supporting our SKs because some of the SK funds are not sufficient to implement this activity. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Share ko lang ASEC, no, and the other body. I was chairman of local government last Congress. Ang comments ng mga, in our first meeting pa lang, ang sabi ng mga LGUs, ang ayaw na ayaw nila is they are told to appropriate funds for additional. Kasi punong, na daw sila, sagad na daw sila sa mga, so what they don't like is the creation of new positions na compulsory, the creation of new spending mandates for them, since supposedly they have fiscal autonomy. Kinikwento ko lang, no? I'm not opposing your idea. I'm just saying that this is the viewpoint given to us by the leagues, that they don't really appreciate it when Congress tries to tell them what to spend their money on. But just for the record, no. So again, can we refer this bill to the TWG or actually no? There's no TWG because there's only one bill. So maybe just can the COMSEC check the amendments that were proposed regarding the content of the to be taken up, of topics to be taken up, the comment of NYC on funding, and other comments that were made. So if there are other comments on third items, this is the third item on the agenda, we'll go now to the last item on the agenda. These are the two bills on the Young Farmers and Fisherfolk Challenge Act, bill of Senator Marcos and Representatives Macapagal Arroyo, Villafuerte, Cabochan. An act evaluating the young farmers, establishing rather, an act launching the Young Farmers Challenge program, planning and evaluating existing related programs of the Department of Agriculture, Department of Trade and Industry, National Youth Commission, local government units, as well as other government and rural development efforts, allocating a budget therefore and for other purposes. So again, we'll go to some of our resource persons. I guess We'll call first the Department of Agriculture. We have Yusek Fermin Adriano and Asek Liza Batad listed here. Are they here online with us? Yusek Adriano and Asek Batad. Maybe the COMSEC could, before we call them, go down the line and alert them that they're about to be called. So, we can proceed smoothly, COMSEC.
Copy, sir.
Thank you. Yusek Adriano, and we'll call them again. Yusek Adriano and Asek Batad, are you online? We'll go to the next resource person. Again, it's with apologies to Asek Dayangirang, but we appreciate her presence here. And when you're present, you get a chance to be heard. So thank you, Asek Dayangirang. You have the floor again.
Sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Lisa.
Opo.
Sir. Hello, Ma'am Lisa.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Excuse me po.
Asset Lisa is trying to talk.
Can you mute your, if you're not been recognized, could you, everyone mute their microphones? The floor belongs to Asek Dayanghirang at the moment. We got back to the DA. We called you 2 times, but we'll get back to you after Asek Dayanghirang. Go ahead, Asek.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So for Senate Bill 884 and House Bill 9575, so we'll go straight to the recommendations. And of course, the National Youth Commission commends and thanks both houses of Congress for that this timely and appropriate legislation which will provide the statutory support for the conduct of various initiatives and the coordination of activities among government agencies in support of enhancing the role and productivity of the youth in the country's agricultural development. And the National Youth Commission consequently hopes to be an active member in advocating the passage of the proposed legislation as well as in the actual implementation thereof once passed. The National Youth Commission believes that for the Filipino youth to be truly represented in the envisioned council to be established under the proposed legislation, various segments and subsectors of the youth in agriculture, both organized and non-organized, be included. As such, the National Youth Commission recommends the adoption of the listing of the council membership as provided for in the House Bill version or its integration or harmonization into the Senate version. The National Youth Commission believes that wider and broader youth membership in the council will not only be more representative, but will also empower youth participation in its regular activities. And lastly, the National Youth Commission further believes that to truly realize the goals of the proposed legislation, budgetary support must be provided and consequently recommends that the agencies identified in the proposed legislation constituting the council be asked to appropriate a certain percentage of their annual appropriations towards the realization of the proposed legislation's objectives. The National Youth Commission believes that a similar mechanism comparable to the tagging of appropriations for climate change or gender development be considered as a concrete mechanism for ensuring the mandates of the various agencies. And for this is also in line with the new advocacy of the latest advocacy of the National Youth Commission, which is urban gardening for our Filipino youth. That would be all, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon.
Okay, urban gardening. Okay. Can we hear from Department of Agriculture? Thank you to Asek Dayangirang once more for a comprehensive position.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I see Asek Batad. Go ahead, ma'am.
Opo. Yes, we strongly support the Senate Bill 884 and its counterpart bill for House Bill 9575. And we have submitted, Honorable Chair, our position on specific areas where we see some good consideration at your level. So we have submitted this yesterday, and specifically, it is presented by section. So I suppose I will just read some of the important suggestions that we are proposing. For Senate Bill 884, Section 1, line item number 2, to include into the Act the Fisherfolk, no? So the act will now be known as the Young Farmer and Fisherfolk Challenge Program. It is also recommended to include fisherfolks in all the discussion to be consistent with the title. Section 3, line item number 13, we are proposing to allot 3 additional private sector representatives from the DA, considering that the focus of the bill is agriculture and fisheries. That there must be 1 representative for each island from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Another is on section 4, line number 1, page 3, is to create special program for marginalized sectors such as youth from urban poor. So we include the urban poor youth cluster with women, indigenous people, PWD, and the BARM. So for section 4, line item number 20, incorporate under the powers and function of the council is package incentive and recognition programs or award systems for the youth. So another is on section 5, line item number 12, to include the DA mechanism for that is already existing, the Agriculture and Fisheries Youthpreneur Council. These are the cluster of youth that join together to develop policies that will address existing issues of youth engagement in agriculture and fisheries. Nag-i-exist na po ito ngayon, Honorable Chair. We just want sana if you can consider yung kanilang inclusion. And at the same time, for section 8, line item number 1, page 6, to incorporate the following roles and responsibilities as follows. For the role of DOLE, offering returning youth overseas Filipino women with a menu of possible investment projects where they can be assisted in terms of proposal, training, management assistance during the early stage as they return back to our country, maybe on marketing and linking with government financial institution. Another role of DA and is to include the role of DA and ATI in creating opportunities for youth leaders to harness their leadership skills, especially during the International Month for Women. This is already existing, Honorable Chair. And to recommend the following inclusion in the implementing rules and regulations. Number 1 is to create the following. One is the database for youth involvement in and interventions provided by government agencies, and a consolidation of these databases with the National Youth Commission, and perhaps a special desk for the youth in all the participating agencies. Number 2 is to package a more aggressive communication plan to upscale youth involvement in agriculture and fisheries by the government, media agencies, and all concerned agencies or platforms. And number 3 is to perhaps offer tax rebates for private businesses, which provides opportunities for the youth in employment, training, or in mentorship. This is all, Honorable Chair, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Asek Batad. Some very good ideas there. Definitely, we will take those under consideration. Thank you, Salamat, for taking time out to specify your positions.
Salamat po.
Thank you. From DAR, the Department of Agrarian Reform, can we hear from Attorney Annabel Owandasan? Attorney, are you here? From the Department of Agrarian Reform.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Senator
Hi.
Nancy Angara, and all the members of this honorable committee. On the part of the Department of Agrarian Reform, sir, we are in full support of both bills, Senate Bill number 884 and House number 9575. And our Undersecretary for Legal Affairs will formally submit our position paper on these two bills. But I am taking this opportunity, Your Honor, to inform the honorable committee that both bills are we fully support both bills because these are in line with the mandate of our department, particularly the role of the DAR as laid down in both bills. Looking at DAR to facilitate and expedite the distribution and lease of agricultural lands to the youth. I would like to inform this body, sir, that as early as February of 2021, the department has already distributed agricultural lands to 44 graduates of agricultural courses, and most of these beneficiaries, sir, came from Cagayan and Palawan. And the department has already identified 230,000 hectares from government-owned lands, which was basically mandated by Executive Order number 75 series of 2019. So we appreciate the inclusion of the Department of Agrarian Reform as member of this council, sir. And that is all, sir, and we will be submitting our formal position paper detailing all the positions of the department.
Thank you very much to Attorney for the position of DAR. Ched, can we hear from Dr. Gregorio again? He's still around.
Good afternoon ulit sa lahat. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Senator, for this one opportunity to say a little bit on this one. So we actually, in principle, fully support both the CHED technical panel for agriculture, because this will really make our agriculture sexy by providing an avenue to make them visible in this time. I just want to say a little bit. Of course, we will give you the formal comment on this one, but in principle, we like it. But we just want to add that an operational framework organizing regions and then provinces into operational unit that will take care of the existing agro-ecological conditions and the agro-enterprise situation, which confronts the farming challenges. And the National Council can replicate down to the regional and the provincial level. And providing the youth with opportunities for professional growth through attendance to conferences, training, and farm visits, etc., which is, I know it's there, but we want it specifically there. Budget should be specified if it is built on the department. We are concerned that how to lead the department can implement it well. And I know with the Mandanas ruling, I think it will be the LGU could really help us on this one. The Young Farmers Program should revolve around the value chain as such, considering the processing as an important in production. So including yung mga processing up to the logistics of this one. So non-food crops like ornamentals can also provide higher income to the young farmers, should not be neglected. And also livestock has not been mentioned in the bill. So that's a brief comment on this, but we are in support of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those comments, Dr. Gregorio. We'll change the name to the Sexy Young Farmers and Fisherfolk program. Thank you.
Hi, sir. Hi, I'm Nicole Allister. I'd just like to add a little bit of something as well. I'm part of the technical panel representing business CHED,
go ahead. Go ahead.
From Kalitayan Farm. I just like to add also for everybody's benefit that the CHED actually recently released the PSG, or the Standards for Agriculture courses, which actually focuses on sustainability. It responds directly to the SDGs. And I believe that there should be some language on this as well, because we actually target here agri-entrepreneurship. We also target our sustainable farming, like organic farming, and adding actually more practicum classes and for the youth so that they can actually apply immediately all these learnings. We believe in praxis as a very effective approach, including mentorship. So I believe that together with Dr. Gregorio, we could add more language as well to the bill to make it aligned with this PSG, as a support for this particular bill. I think that would provide a good alignment as to the SUCs as well as to the effort of this international effort as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Nicole. That's very good, and that I think that would be attractive for the youth also because they're very interested in environmental initiatives, climate change. So thank you. We'll welcome any proposed language from the chat. Thank you to that effect.
Thank you.
Can we now go to cocopea again, Attorney Manaog?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you for the chance po. On these two bills po, of course, we support the principle and the intention of the bills. And on that note, Mr. Chair, we would like to express po our desire to be part of these efforts po, no? And perhaps the private education sector will be allowed to be represented as well in the council. Also, I would like po to probably just raise some key points to this two bills. We will just submit po our our detailed position paper on this, but I'd like to highlight or raise po some main points on these two bills po. First, the inclusion of agriculture in the K to 12 program, as it is now po, the K to 12 curriculum is already quite congested po. So perhaps po in the alternative, perhaps the committee can consider that putting agriculture as probably as an elective subject or be incorporated in a related subject instead of probably making it a mandatory subject.
Maybe
Also,
place it in a.
yes.
Is there like a social science there or a history or something where it can be placed in as part of the pillars of the economy or economics or
Yes.
something like that?
Yes po. Also po, Mr. Chair, perhaps on the mandatory scholarships, perhaps the offer of scholarships by private colleges and schools be discretionary on their part, of course, or probably if we have the opportunity, perhaps it can be subject to a government subsidy in order to also allow private school students to have access to the activities or studies in agriculture po. Also po, we have on the provisions regarding access to land or land holdings. Perhaps considering that the lands po held by private education institutions are still private in nature po, perhaps we can improve these provisions in such a way that schools are still or are also protected po.
Yeah, give us your specific amendments so we can input it kasi medyo time pressure tayo ngayon. So
Mr. Chair, the specific inputs perhaps will embody it in the position paper that we will submit.
when you think you can give that position paper, we'd like to consider that before we finalize the committee report.
Yes po,
Kaya
perhaps
ba 24 hours? In 24 hours?
Yes, sige po.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, and
Sige.
just one last, I guess, comment, Mr. Chair. Considering this is agriculture po, no, we would like to be clarified on the effect or how can this be implemented in schools that are in urban areas where farming is not suitable po in the communities, in the urban communities. And as the bills are currently worded po, it encompasses all kinds of private
Right.
schools po.
Okay. Let's make it more specific then.
Yes po.
Sige.
Right.
Thank you.
Next.
Salamat. Thanks to Cocopea. Thank you, attorney. Can we hear from LPP? Ms. Sanchez again, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. So just 4 points. The LPP is one with the vision of the authors of the bill of the need to develop a new breed of young farmers who shall carry on the gains in agriculture and fisheries and further develop the sector through the adoption of a value chain approach to production while taking advantage of the advancements in technology. A whole of government approach must indeed be taken, starting from the formative years of these youth by instilling in them the value of the land as early as possible through the basic education system. In order to entice the youth of the 21st century to be the forerunners of the future of agricultural development, it is important not only to give them access to technological innovations, but also allow them to meaningfully participate in the crafting of policies and programs that they themselves will implement and see through fruition. So lastly, the League of Provinces of the Philippines fully support the passage of the bill, and we will be submitting our official position paper by the end of the day, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Sanchez. Can we hear from the DepEd, Director Aguilar, please? Can we hear from...
Yes, good afternoon once again, Mr. Chair. The department expresses its appreciation and support to the Young Farmers Challenge program, citing its significance to current initiatives of the department, such as the K-12 TVET curriculum with agri-fishery arts in the following: edukasyon pantahanan at pangkabuhayan, technology and livelihood education, technical vocational education, technical vocational livestock track. We also have our rural farm school, and we also provided opportunities through the joint delivery voucher program for TBL. Moreover, DepEd promotes the Gulayan sa Paaralan, now with the pandemic, Gulayan sa Tahanan, in collaboration with the local government units. Other DepEd policies or programs include the following. We have the implementation of the School Inside a Garden program, or SIGA, the integration of Gulayan sa Paaralan, solid waste management, and tree planting under the National Greening Program. We also have mandated programs, projects, and activities in various forms and targets pertinent to the Youth for Environment in Schools program. And we also have a strengthened environmental education in our public and private schools. We are happy to note that this after schools program that we had in terms of the Gulayan and the Greening program are still continuing despite the no face-to-face classes being implemented in most of the schools. We also included concepts on this in our K-12 basic education curriculum. So we will just submit, Mr. Chair, the detailed position paper we have in relevance to this bill. We also welcome the creation of the council with DepEd as a member that will greatly impact our programs, the programs mentioned, especially on the immersion program in the senior high school, and hopefully that will grant access to students for internship opportunities among the council member agencies. This will also provide opportunities for our programs to access technical assistance from member agencies. So we would like also to propose that instead of the undersecretary representing the department in the council, we would like to propose that it should be the Secretary of Education or the Secretary of other agencies being the head of their department, so that it will have a strong impact to the measure. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aguilar. Can we hear from DTI?
Good
Mr.
afternoon. Yeah, this is Nelly Deliera.
Yes, Mrs. Deliera. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Okay, we recognize and support this bill, and especially that it focuses on the young farmers we are aware of the situation now where the young generation are no longer interested in working in the agriculture sector, but we can introduce innovations that would entice them to enter this field. DTI shall also submit its position paper for this along with the comments on specific items. We also concur on the provision on helping them on trade events and exhibits. Now, as the training arm of the Department of Trade and Industry, we at the Philippine Trade Training Center continue to innovate, update, or introduce new courses to stay relevant and responsive to the demand of the times. Integration of technology and innovation in their business operation, which the young farmers may be interested in and which makes farming sexy. We would like also to take this opportunity, Mr. Chair, to promote our new enterprise pathway, making us relevant and of course responsive, as I was saying early on. For farm tourism, we call it Farm Rural Tourism Modular Entrepreneurship Series or Farm Series, aligned with the Philippine Skills Framework. Farmer Series is composed of learning programs for farm entrepreneurs, young generation targeted to explore the opportunities that tourism can offer in expanding their revenue sources and the profitability of their agribusiness. We can integrate this to the Young Entrepreneurship Program and can come up with Farmer Series YEP Bootcamp with the following objectives: to encourage young farmers to adopt an entrepreneurial mindset, viewing their farms as business opportunities that can be transformed into profitable undertakings. Next, to create among the young farmers an awareness of general business environment as they affect the industry. And finally, to understand the bigger value chain where the enterprises are part of and how to work within its system in building markets. So there are training for financial literacy so that young farmers will be adequately equipped in handling and managing the loan programs, because part of the program I think is a loan. And the Farmer Series consists of 4 progressive training tracks, series that in succession will help our young farmers be guided step by step in their venture to become globally competitive. Just to mention the 4, Series 1 is Farm Tour, planting the seeds of farm tourism enterprise building. Then we have Series 2, Farm Map, organizing or mapping for farm tourism. Then Series 3 is Farm Up, growing the farm tourism business operation. And finally, Series 4 is Farm Plus, expanding the farm tourism business. So again, Mr. Chair, we'll be sending our position paper and as well as specific comments to the different provisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma'am Nelly. So we have a slogan, make farming sexy. Huh? But no, I think you're right. I think you have to expand the horizons of some of our younger people to make farming more attractive by showing them the agribusiness opportunities, the finished products. So the DTI with its negosyo centers, with its shared service facilities, with its access to trade fairs, as you mentioned, can provide all of these. Thank you. Senator Binay, anything on your part? I think you're on mute, Sen Nancy.
No, Mr. Chairman, sasabihin ko lang na you're qualified na dun sa sexy part.
Thanks to my wife putting me on a very strict diet post-Christmas. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Nancy. That's much appreciated. So if there are no other comments from DTI, SB Corp or Mr. Bastillo?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. Yes, we would like to concur fully with the position of the DTI that was read out earlier. But in addition, as SB Corp, the lending arm of the DTI, we'd like to explicitly express our support to Senate Bill 884, as particularly on certain sections like Section 4D, the development of initiatives in new farm sectors such as smart farming, farm tourism, agri-aqua, hydroponics, organic and exotic vegetable production, etc. And this aligns with our direction at SB Corp. For the next 5 years, we will focus on financing the so-called unfinanceables, or those that have not yet been mainstreamed into the financing industry, and that includes MSMEs in the agri-aqua sector. And we're also looking at some of these new technologies that do not have links to the formal financing sector yet. Section 7C, the loans for trade and marketing of their agricultural products, definitely we are in that direction. However, we'd like to also explicitly add that it is not just the produce of the land, because the financing for production is under the land bank, but for value-added processing and other activities in the value chain in an entrepreneurial setup, whether it is micro, small, or medium, definitely we would be welcoming that. So I hope that would be added there. This is consistent with what the DTI spelled out earlier as well. And Section 7D, to include agri entrepreneurs and qualified young farmer entrepreneurs in the incubation efforts. Definitely young or first-time entrepreneurs are part of our 6 to 7 priority segments, including agri-aqua entrepreneurs. And we are also looking into integrating green financing into the whole formula, and that loops back to Section 4D. All of those new initiatives, they're all along the lines of green financing. So we'll be developing products for these youth entrepreneurs as part of our priority segments, as well as around green financing. And finally, the idea of integrating technology, we fully support. At SB Corp, we are really moving towards platformification. All our loan application processing and disbursement processes have been automated, and we're looking to further increase our engagement of technology, and this bill supports that, promotes that, and we support that fully. So that's all, Mr. Chair, Senator Angara, Honorable Senator.
Thank you.
From
Thank you
SB
very
Corp.
much to Mr. Bastillo from SB Corp. Very good to hear that all of these are available to incentivize our young agri entrepreneurs. So let's ComSec, please take note of that and what the DTI and the SB Corp said, because that's a very important part in scaling up and adding value to the products of our farmers, young farmers. So does the DBM have anything to comment, James?
Yes po, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. May I call Ma'am Elisa Apple Rivera from the OPCCB to provide our comments regarding the creation of the council?
Certainly.
Apple.
Certainly. Yeah, Ms.
Good
Apple,
afternoon,
please.
sir. This is Elisa Rivera, or Apple po. Actually, the DBM recognizes and interposes no objection on the establishment of the proposed Young Farmers and Fisherfolk Challenge Council. With the establishment of the council, there will be a dedicated entity that will focus on the formulation, development, and implementation of plans, policies, and programs relative to the engagement of youth in the agricultural sector and on the provision of institutional support for agribusiness and agri-entrepreneurship initiatives for the youth. However, sir, this council, this Fisher Folk Challenge Council, shall not be engaged in the provision, production, or delivery of public goods, since it's more focused on the policy formulation. And as regards the Secretariat of the Council, we recommend that the existing offices or units of the DA, which is the lead department responsible for implementing the youth Fisherfolk Council, could provide technical and administrative secretariat services there too. This is to limit the operational cost, the provision of secretariat services to the council's member agencies, and also to be handled. This shall be handled by the organic personnel of the DA offices and units concerned. Thus, the creation of additional positions for the council is deemed not necessary, sir. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to the DBM. We'll take that into account. Can we hear from TESDA, Ms. Andrade, Abe's Andrade?
Good afternoon once again, Mr.
Yes.
Chair.
Afternoon. Thank you.
So on the House Bill 9575 and the Senate Bill number 844, the agency interposes no objection to the overall objectives of these bills. And in support, TESDA welcomes its inclusion to the Young Farmers and Fisherfolk Challenge Council to ensure a proper formulation and implementation of the program. On Section 5, Mr. Chair, of Senate Bill number 844, we also consider working together with the Department of Information and Communications Technology and the DOST in the provision of subjects for agriculture entrepreneurship, smart farming, and other advanced farming technologies po. In fact po, we already have, TESDA already have 38 training regulations, which includes also po the agri-entrepreneurship, and we also have
For me?
drone and drone
Thank you.
technology po and solar irrigation technology. So likewise po, for the youth, we offer these programs under our scholarship programs po because the out-of-school youths po are part of our special clients under our scholarship programs. So on Section 8 naman po, on Senate Bill number 844, we inform po the committee that pursuant to Republic Act number 10970 on the celebration of the National Tech Voc Day every 25th of August po of every year, TESTA is already conducting the National TVET Enrollment Day and Jobs Bridging po. This is a 2-day activity po that we conducted every year to strengthen the promotion and advocacy of various TESDA programs and services po. Also expand access to our programs and offer them to various range of our clienteles, and also to provide assistance to the TVET graduates in searching for work and employment po, Mr. Chair. That would be all, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much po. We will send our official position on this.
Thank you very much, Ms. Andrade from TESDA. Appreciate that. Do we have any other resource persons or any other comments from the body before we wrap up? Thank you. Again, we'd like to reiterate our thanks to the committee and of course the committee staff.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Senator Binay, please.
Hindi, question lang, pero I think wala ata tayong DOF kasi meron dun sa isang function ng council for them to collect donations, and then may isang provision pa doon na parang meron silang oversight dun sa loans. So I would...
The council will have oversight over loans.
May ganong provision eh. And then they can accept donations.
Right, right.
And in fact, I think may tax incentives pa ata yung bill.
Well, DOF, yeah, we know they're very strict about about those incentives. So we'll ask the COMSEC to get their
position na lang siguro. Yes,
yeah,
Mr.
so
Chairman.
we don't want to, yeah, maybe they have a suggestion and then we can take into account. It's a good point. Thank you for raising that, Senator Nancy. Eagle-eyed as always. Thank you. So any other comments from the body? We appreciate the comments from our colleagues, Senator Nancy, Senator Bong Revilla earlier, from the resource persons, of course. If there are no other comments, then we'll wrap up, and then this bill will also like to, since there's a House version that has already passed, gusto rin natin ihabol to. Best efforts for the last 9 days of session, including the 2 weeks after the elections. No? So, COMSEC, we have COMSEC jingle. We have to hustle a little here. Pasensya na. Kung may date ka this weekend, medyo ano natin, i-postpone muna natin. Thank you again to all our resource persons from the various agencies and from the private sector. Salamat for taking time out this afternoon.
Mr. Chair, if I just may, just a quick...
Yes, Attorney, go ahead. Yes, certainly.
For cocopea po, we would like, of course, to extend our assistance and express our desire po to be part and participate in the TWG if and when you need us po.
Certainly, yeah, but it'll be fast if ever.
Yes,
so please give your, it'll be the shortest TWG in legislative history probably. But you're welcome. You're welcome to join.
Paper po within
Salamat din, Asek Dayang Hirang, for joining us today. Are you related to Governor Nelson or to Councilor Danny of Davao?
Ano po, Sir Dan is my father and Gov Nelson is my uncle po.
I see. Oh, please give them my best. Of course, I've known them from my time in politics, and they've helped me also become a senator. So please give them my warm regards.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you.
Salamat. Thank you for your diligence and really drilling down on the subject matter. Salamat, Asek. We appreciate it very much. If there are no other comments, we'd like to thank you on behalf of the committee and thank the ComSec and my staff and all those who are still online. Thank you very much to all of you, and we wish you a happy working weekend for many of us. No, so thank you very much, and God bless. Stay safe, po. Thank you. The meeting is now suspended.
Thank you.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you very much.